So when I ask you, for example, the question will say, figure out someone's monthly payment, okay? Then you're gonna use this formula right here. So you can either write monthly payment or just payment. You want the amount that you're gonna borrow. You multiply it by a rate per $1,000. This one is very important. I'm gonna give it a color. I haven't used green yet, so I'm gonna use green. This you should remember from grade 11. Okay, I will show you. Let's go to page 32 real quick. So for this booklet, you need this table for most questions. So watch. Go to page 32. This is the one. Okay, there's lots of numbers, right? 1,000 numbers, not that many. Calm down. You're gonna pick one. So you need two pieces of information to pick one number. Look at across the top, what does it say? The term in years. So the question will tell you for how long the loan is happening. So let's say it's 3 years, and the interest rate for this question says 4%. Let's go and grab that number, 3 years and 4%. You go to 3 and 4, and then you just match, right? So what is that number right there, the 2958? What does that mean? It means that that is going to be your monthly payment for every $1,000 that you borrow. And it's going to have principal and interest blended into it, okay? That's why we use these tables. So you're going to have to resort to this one. You're never going to need this for a test. I will provide you a snippet of this table. You're just going to have to go get it. If you don't get this table provided, and you might think, Mr. Erickson, I cannot do it. You can. The question itself will say that you pay $29.58 per $1,000 of loan. So in fact, I am giving you this number. You don't have to go get it from the table, all right, guys? So don't be like, I can't do it. I need the table, Mr. Erickson. No, it's there. So the province says if you need the table will be provided. If you don't need the table, they will actually give you the number that you're supposed to use. And let's go back to 27. So that is the number that has to go in here. Okay, that has to go in there. So I actually want you to add that this part here will eventually be a dollar amount over 1,000, okay? Like this, we're gonna write it. When we calculate, I'm actually gonna put a dollar amount, which comes from the table, or the question is just gonna flat out give it to you, and it's always gonna be over 1,000. Very important to remember. All right, one more thing. Before, I did not talk about this yesterday because we ran out of time. Notice this one at the bottom. I'm going to highlight the entire thing. I want you to add that to your study sheet as well. This, in a sense, is a very important concept to remember. So, study sheet as well. Let me read this to you. To determine the payment, the bank determines the interest on the entire loan. Then they add it to the loan, the original amount that you're getting, and it takes that and divides it by the number of periods you choose to pay it. So watch this. They will do this. Price of the item. You take the sticker, you add your taxes. Everybody pays taxes on a car. You can't escape it. You go minus any down payment that exists. They add the interest. So this is what every one of us will pay if we get a loan. If you have cash, then you don't need to worry about the interest, right? If you have cash, if you're not going to finance it, you don't have to worry about that. But if you're going to take a loan, you're going to have to add the interest that they're going to charge you. They take that, they take the price of the item that they figure out, and they divide it by the number of months. So let's do a hypothetical here. Let's say Anybody's planning on buying a car? Yeah? What are you planning on spending approximately? How much? 9, okay. So 9,000, let's say you want to buy one with 9,000. What are taxes on that? Let's say you go with a dealer. You would add 12%, right? So we added taxes. So now we're looking at 10,080. Do you have any down? Do you have a down payment, Barak, or no? You're not buying from a dealer? No. You're making it complicated now. Can we pretend you're going dealer? Yeah. Are you going to finance or are you going to pay? You're going to pay full? Lucky you. So then this example goes down the drain because we're supposed to finance. So I'm going to assume we're going to go to the bank and you have $2,000 to pay. You take down $2,000. How much are you going to have to borrow from the bank? $8,000. They're going to say, more or less, you're going to have to pay $1,500 in interest over the 5 years. They take that and then they ask you, how long do you want to pay this over? 5 years? How many months are there in 5 years? 5 times 12. 60. They take that and they divide it by 60 and they'll say, your monthly payment is up $159.67. 67? That's the thing, I don't know. My boys do that all the time at home, so it's something to do with social media, right? Basketball player or something like that. Okay, listen to this part. No, I'm serious now. If you get to page 36 and you're like, how do you do this? None of these formulas that Mr. Dirksen gave me up here apply to this scenario, right? Then you're gonna, page 36 deals with that. Let's go to 36. Put your finger on this, don't lose this page. This is the one right here at the bottom of 36. You're gonna say, what are you gonna say on this one? C, page 27 at the bottom. So you're doing an endless cycle. You go to 27, or you go to 36, it's going to send you to 27. You go to 27, it's going to send you to 36. And you just back and forth, right? One more thing. The time that you're going to know that I have to use this is no interest rate given. Then you know for sure, right? If that's the case, you know that you have to apply this sort of reasoning to get your payment. So PMT stands for payment, by the way. So you take the price of the item, which includes all of these components, and you divide it by the number of months. Okay, so that's how that happens. Don't worry about this one too much. It is not very common, but if it does show up, you know where to get it. So I would add this to my study sheet. Okay. All right, let's do some examples. And for the first one, I provided a little bit of the table, so we don't need to go back and forth between pages. But it's on page 32 if you need it. Okay, so no down payment. This one that requires no down payment, all right? So you need to borrow a total of $31,500 to buy a new car. The dealership offers you a 5-year loan at 3.5%. You have no down payment. So you're borrowing the entire amount. Calculate the monthly payment. You have the interest rate, you have the number of years. So I have this formula that I use. So it's the loan, right? The loan multiplied by a dollar amount over 1,000. If you want to modify your study sheet, you can just write it like this if you want to have a nice short formula. And so how much am I borrowing here? 31,500. I'm going to have a number over 1,000. So you get that number from this table here. So I will match 5 years, circle 5, and circle 3.5%. And then you just move over until those two meet, right? So it's really this number right there, 1819. You're paying $18.19 for every $1,000 that you're borrowing. And we're going to multiply it by 31,500. So grab your calculator. This is where the dollar sign needs to appear on your final answer. So, you know what? It's probably smarter to go 1819 divided by 1,000. And you multiply that by whatever is in front of it. So you go times 31,500. And here you have it, 572.99. That's your monthly payment. It's a lot, right? By the way, this question didn't tell you whether or not this already includes taxes and all of that. So we're just going to put an arrow on top of that number, and we're going to say after tax. Or including tax. Either wording should tell you this is already including all the taxes. That happens before you get your loan. Okay? That's already done. If it said 31,500 plus tax, then we would have to figure out the taxes, but usually a loan question doesn't include, doesn't make you calculate taxes. Usually, some of them will have, because I want you to kind of think big picture. Okay, so we got our payment, good. Determine the total amount paid back to the bank in 5 years. Okay, so which one would we use, which formula? If you have this on your study sheet already, total paid to the bank. That formula goes as follows. You take your payment, you multiply it by 12 months, and you multiply that answer by the number of years that you've spent paying this. So you take 572.99 times 12 times 5, right? It's over 5 years. Times 12 times 5. You paid $34,379.40. More than what you borrowed, correct? If you look at where my fingers are pointing, we ended up, the bank gave us $31,500 to buy it. When we're all said and done after 5 years, that's a lot of money, right, that you're paying on interest. I don't know about you, but if I could save a couple thousand, all you need to do is save up money before you buy it. Okay, so you're not financing. Okay, next question is slightly different. There are some commonalities. Total interest paid, the total interest you paid over the life. So I'm going to pretend like I didn't just calculate this. I'm going to say total interest. I'm going to add a few words here just in case you come across it. Over life of loan. The loan has a 5-year life, right? Like it's 5 years until it matures, till it's done. So if you ever see that, don't let that throw you off. It's just saying over the entire loan. It calls for payment times 12 times the number of years. So we call this what you paid the bank minus what the loan was. Like how much did you actually end up borrowing from them in the beginning. So we're gonna redo this, okay? I know we already wrote this down. What's my loan in this case? 31,500, it's up here. Okay. For sure, yeah. Is that better? This I'm just gonna take this from the previous question because I know that these three numbers multiply give me 34,379.40. So I go ahead and subtract 2,879.40. That is the bank's profit, right? They made that much money off of you in 5 years. And now imagine there's thousands of loans and mortgages they have out there, and people just keep paying, right? And so they make money that way. The longer you take to pay it off, the better for them, okay? So they would love for you to take as long as you possibly can to pay something off. That's in their interest there. Last one. The amount of interest and principal paid on the first month's payment only. An emphasis on the first month only. When it says that, it doesn't care about the total interest, just how much interest are you paying on the very first month. What formula did I give you on this one? I'm going to check because I made a slight change. I'm going to go to 27 and just peek. I'm going to show you which one I mean. If it says, like, I want you to have interest first month like that, you have to take the loan times the interest rate divided by 100 divided by 12. So this is the formula. I don't know if you remember I equals PRT. Simple interest last year. That's where this formula is coming from. So interest, first month, after a while, you're not going to have to write this down, like necessarily, but I want to make sure it's the loan times the interest rate divided by 100 divided by 12. This is where I want you to make sure you check something right now. Do you have 100 or do you have 1,000 here? Some students, because they saw 1,000 earlier, like if I go up here, oh, it's over 1,000, they automatically assume that this one is also out of 1,000. That is wrong. Okay, it's 100 because interest rate is a percentage. That's why I need to divide by 100. So check that, please. What is my loan in this case? 31,500. What is my interest rate? Interest rate. 350, right? 3.5, you see that? It's up on the question, 3.5%. So I go 3.5% divided by 100. All of that divided by 12. I'm going to clean it up one more time. After a while, you might not even bother doing this. You're just going to be like, okay, 3.5 divided by 100. And you're just going to write in the thing already divided. That's ultimately what I would like you to do. Take the loan times the interest rate as a decimal and divide that by 12 months. On the very first month, you're going to pay $91.88. This is interest on the first month. Let's split this up here a little bit. Remember, your payment is always has a little bit of both. What's my payment again? $572.99, correct? a little chunk of that, about $100, let's say it's about this big, is 91.88. That's what you just figured out. That is the I call that lowercase I in most of my keys. What's this? This is the principal portion, like what actually goes off towards paying off your loan. To get the principal, you just go payment, like that big number, minus interest. So it's $572.99 minus $91.88. And when you subtract that, $572.99 minus $91.88, you get $41.11. Okay, so this is also important. So that's the principal, and that is the interest on the very first month. This will change every month. It will change. Okay. Okay. I'll get the next one started, and then I want you to try if you're on your own. I'm just going to get you started because that one has a down payment, and I don't want you to get it wrong right off the top. So write this down, and then let's go to 29. Can you just wait till I get you started on this one? It'll take 2 minutes. Give me 2. Just rude, right? Just not letting you go to the rush. I'll hurry. Dilraj is purchasing a Honda Acura for $35,600, taxes included, so we won't worry about taxes. Okay, he saved up $4,900 as a down payment. He wants to finance the remaining over 4 years at 7.25%. The blended payment rate is $24.07 per $1,000 of loan. I don't know if you, that's a giveaway, right? This one, that's the table rate right there. That is the table rate. So you don't need to go get it. What's the monthly payment? Payment is, watch this, it's the $35,600 minus the down payment. So you have to do that here. Always take away the down payment from the price of the car if there is a down payment. You put the 2407 over 1,000 here. Clean it up before you calculate that. So you take 35,600. Okay. So this right here is your loan. This is what we call the loan, okay? So I'm just going to write it down underneath here. Your loan is not the price of the car. Your loan is what you would borrow after you apply the down payment. You borrow this much. And now we can figure out your payment. So I'm going to go 24.07 divided by 1,000. You get that, don't worry about it, use all decimals. You multiply that by 30,700. So there's your monthly payment, $738.95, okay, per month. There goes your whole paycheck, right? If you work part-time, that could be. So $738.95. It's pretty accurate of what it actually would be, guys. This is quite accurate. What's the total amount paid to the bank? So the rest I'm going to let you do based on this payment. I just wanted to highlight. I'm going to use a different color here. I'm just going to highlight this part that we subtract the down payment. All right, this is your down. And I'm just going to ask you to, on page 27, because I want to make sure you understand the formulas. That when I did this part, when I did the payment, I figured out the amount borrowed, and the amount borrowed was the price of the item minus the down payment, okay? So if you want to write in here, you want to write down loan above it on your study sheets. Maybe some of you need to do already study sheet, but the amount borrowed is the same thing as the loan, okay? All right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to ask you to practice this. So if you do 29, try 30 and just keep going. Actually, this keeps going. There's a worksheet that starts on page 33. So I'm just going to say for now, 29 to 34 until I stop you. I'll just add a few things at the end, but you need a break right now. If you go to 29C, total interest paid, I'm going to take my payment. Make sure you write this down if you weren't sure what to do. Over 4 years, right? What are you going to subtract from what you paid the bank? Are you going to subtract this number or this? What did the bank give you? 3,700. So it's the loan, okay? So when you subtract, you want to subtract the loan from it. So I'm actually going to highlight that. I haven't used green yet. Right, it's the loan. You want to subtract the loan or what we call the amount borrowed, okay? So I'm just giving you a little hint there. And I'll show you the key in a bit. Some of you just need to focus on making sure you have the formulas down and maybe even highlight. The very last one, I do have one. It's one of the formulas I gave you. I call that total paid for the car is total paid to the bank plus the down payment. Total paid to the bank, we already know what that is. And the down payment is $4,900. So at the end of the day, including like the loan, right, based and interest that you paid the bank and the down payment that came out of your pocket, and that's really how much it cost you at the end of the day. So Make sure you have these written down there.